Hi there, welcome back to ADSR Massive Tutorials. In this tutorial we're going to recreate that bass sound that we had playing in that loop for you there, a kind of Melbourne Bounce style bass sound. Some very simple programming, just a kind of offbeat one note bass stab, and a couple of requests come in for making some Melbourne Bounce style sounds, so we're going to do that bass sound in this tutorial. Next tutorial we're going to do this lead sound and discuss some processing and how we put that riff together. So you can actually download this bass sound we're going to recreate in this tutorial. You can download the patch directly from the massivesynth.com website. There's a link on the screen to download that patch, and we're going to go ahead and recreate it here anyway, and also discuss a little bit of EQ and I applied to the sound. So turn that EQ off for now, and let's go ahead and recreate a new sound in Massive and start off with the Oscillator. So Massive is great for those Melbourne Bounce style bass sounds because it's got those the kind of wavetables that have some really distinctive kind of characters to it. So for this bass sound we want just something solid and just kind of sort of fill in that gap in between the kick drum basically. So it's going to be quite a sort of throbbing, pumping kind of bass stab. So I'm going to start off and I'm going to go for the strontium wavetable, because I know that this has a really nice kind of character and tone. Play around with the wavetable position, going to convert it to bend minus plus, gets a bit more nasally, and then take the pitch down by 1 octave. It's quite a good start. Turn on Oscillator 2 now, and I'm going to convert this into a smooth square wavetable. Bring the amp down a little bit and then take the pitch down by 2 octaves. It's just adding a little bit more beef to that strontium wavetable we've got in Oscillator 1. Turn on Oscillator 3 now, and this is going to be the sub in our bass sound. So I'm going to go for a sine square wavetable, pull the wavetable position all the way to the left, and then it actually sounds quite nice like that, but we want it to sort of provide a sub element. So take the pitch down by 2 octaves, providing that kind of sub in there, that sine wave. So next thing we want to do is go to this oscillator section here, check the restart via gate button. So getting a nice consistent bass tone, the phases are re-triggering with each time we hit a new key. And let's go over to this voicing section and just make the sound monophonic as it's a bass sound. And you could have some glide on there if you want, or you could just have no glide. I mean, it's not going to make a difference because this bass slab, we just got one note, so the glide's going to be ineffective, but it's up to you if you wanted some glide on there for some kind of note transitions. So next thing to do is set up a filter on this sound. So I'm going to use a DAF filter, and it's really important here to get the kind of envelope shape right on this filter. So I'm going to use this first envelope here to modulate the cutoff frequency of this DAF filter. So click and drag the crosshair this envelope, drop it in the first modulation box on the cutoff frequency of filter 1, click and drag up to apply some modulation. So now this first envelope is controlling this cutoff frequency, and it's bringing the cutoff frequency round to about 1/4 of the way. And let's set up this envelope, and just this is how we kind of get our real kind of shape on the sound. So you get a very sharp attack in there, pull that decay level right down, and then play with the decay until you get the kind of length that you want. And I mean, you could almost do this by soloing the kick drum and the bass sound and play around with that decay until you get it exactly how you want it. So I've got it pointing just before the D there, and that sounds pretty nice. Okay, so next thing we can do here is use another envelope to set up a kind of optional thing with the sound here. So I'm going to hold shift, click and drag the envelope of the crosshair of this second envelope, and I'm going to use it to modulate the pitch of all 3 oscillators. And I'm going to hold alt or option and click and drag up, so we've got plus 48 in these pitch modulation boxes here. And I'm going to set up this envelope so it's going to give us that a kind of plucky character, like a stabby sort of, something like that really. So sharpen up the attack, decay around to about 1/4 of the way round, and decay level down to 0. And we now got that sort of almost like a transient on there. It's almost becoming quite percussive. And what we could do here is use a macro to control this. So bring the attack level down, and the second macro here, drag the crosshair and drop it in this modulation box with the attack level, click and drag up. So now got a macro here for controlling that kind of punch or transient in the sound. So you could have like none whatsoever, or if you want it a bit more. And just to get some nice consistent envelopes here, trigger 0 reset on both of these envelopes here, so we know those envelopes are always going to re-trigger. So next thing to do really is to kind of start driving the sound a little bit, distorting it and stuff. So effects 1, I'm going to go for a classic tube. And I'm also going to go for an insert 1 here. I'm going to go for the sine shaper. Drive it down a bit, just driving it, add a bit of feedback, check the root in, let's put the insert 1 there, play around with it. Actually sounds quite nice before the filter. Another thing to do here, dimension expander, just to kind of bring the sound to life a little bit. Take the size right down so we don't have too much kind of stereo information in the sound. It's a bass sound, so that kind of just really brings it to life. Bit of EQ, just boost the high shelf, and let's just boost some lower mids, low shelf. And that's almost done with the sound really. One final thing was a bit of noise. I'm going to use bright noise because it's a bit more subtle. And it just provides a little bit of kind of fizz top end in there. And if you bring the colour down, you get a bit more of a kind of, it's almost like a kind of low pass filter, this colour. So you can just dial that into taste really. It's providing just a little bit of fizz, a little bit of top end in there. So, and one final thing I've got with the sound is a little bit of channel EQ. Turn this on, a little bit of a boost around 80 Hz there, and a little bit of a cut at around 1K. Just helping to shape it a little bit more. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope you found it useful. Any questions, please get in touch. Come and check us out in the next tutorial. We're going to recreate that Melbourne Bounce style lead sound. And yeah, thanks for watching. Alright, cheers.